We live in a time pressed culture. There is never enough time, and we see it, we feel it around us every day. We live in a world that valorizes work, achievements, busyness, accomplishments, and there is real upside to that. That's real value. We are pushed, we are driven forward toward achievement and action and creation. And that's great, but there's also a downside, and that's something that is worth talking about. There was a study done a while back by the Management Research Group of 10,000 senior leaders, and they asked them, what is key to your organization's success? And 97% of them said long term strategic thinking. I mean, when was the last time that 97% of people agreed on anything? That there is near unanimity that being a long term thinker, which is having a long term perspective, having that ability to think and ask big questions, is essential to your success. And yet, in a separate study, 96% of leaders were surveyed, and they said that they don't have time for strategic thinking. So what is going on? Why is it like how can it be that 96% of people are not doing the one thing that they think is critical for their success? Well, I think we might know the answer, or at least you know we think we do. The average professional attends 62 meetings per month. That sounds outrageous. How could that be? But if you actually break it down, it's not that many. It's 2 to 3 meetings per day, which is probably average for many of you. So 62 meetings a month. Well, that does not help, and that's not wrong either. It is a contributor. Also, we know email. A study a while back by McKinsey showed that the average professional spends 28% of their time just responding to email. Of course, that drains of us, and that makes us a lot busy. But the truth is, it's also, I believe, not the full picture. They're just manifestations. Those are legitimate problems, but there are also some other things going on underneath the surface, reasons that perhaps we are in some ways working at cross purposes. Because for so long, almost all of us have said we want desperately to be less busy, and yet we keep making choices that put ourselves in the position where we are just as busy as we have always been, probably even more. So, what's going on now? Um, it turns out it is very hard for the human mind to deal with conditions of uncertainty. And in modern life, there's a lot of it. Sometimes we're given tasks or challenges, and the truth is, practically, we just don't know how to do it. For like increase sales by 30%. Well, how? There's a lot of ways you can do it, and you're not sure how. Sometimes it's easier, frankly, to just double down and keep doing more of what you're already doing, but that might not be the best answer. But it's an answer, and it can remove uncertainty. The picture gets even worse when we are talking about existential questions, when we are talking about uncomfortable matters that we might not actually really want to deal with. That might be like, am I in the right job? It might be, am I in the right career? Those are often questions, truth be told, we might not want the answer to. And so we become busy as a way so that we don't even have to ask that question. Now, there's a third reason, and I'll admit it's one that I know well personally, and that is that sometimes we use business as a way to numb ourselves out, and many people might have experienced that. For a lot of us, there are things we sometimes don't want to face. What we are really looking for with work is an anesthetic, and as I like to say, work is better than crack. So if you are choosing work, then maybe it's not the worst. But the truth is, it's also not a sustainable solution. For many of us, we get trapped in the pattern of this business of overwork. It's hard sometimes even to remember what it was like before. Oftentimes, in our mind's eye, when we think of business, what we think of is, you know, consequent works one after the other, that it occupies our whole day. What we think of is triumphant success and the world at your fingertips because of that work. But the truth is, more often, business looks like loneliness, frustration. It looks like having a life that's really not in your control. So I would like to propose a change because if we are ever going to succeed in beating back dizziness once and for all, first of all, we have to get real and acknowledge what is actually behind some of the busyness that is filling our days. We have to really get honest about what it is, what it is that is motivating us, so that we can make a different choice. Because it is about our choice. We need to recognize that real freedom is about creating that space so that we can breathe, the space that we can think. Ultimately, real freedom is about choosing how and with whom we want to spend our time with, right?